Patch 1.2 features our first balance changes since the debut of Rising Tides, as well as a bunch of clarity updates. This is a quick overview of the changes that the latest patch has brought us. Vladimir is having the keyword Drain added to his level 2 card. This champion had one of the worst play rates in the game. Out of all the most popular meta decks, the Crimson Braum Vladimir Survival deck is the only one that features him and has a win rate of 46.2% and a play rate of just 0.3%. In Riot's words, he's been given this drain effect as Riot felt he was lacking gameplay satisfaction and the champion resonance levels that they strive for. This should make him feel a bit more like a life-draining battle mage and make it more exciting and impactful to level him up. I don't think this will dramatically increase his play rate or make him S tier, but it will make him a more viable option. Karma is having a cost increase from 5 to 6. Riot want Karma to be both more difficult to protect and more taxing on your immediately available mana, so they've bumped her cost up to put more constraints on what players can do the turn they play her. The Karma Luck Spells deck was actually the third highest played rate decks in the meta at the moment, sitting at 5.8%. She also features in the fifth most used deck, featuring alongside Ezreal. Adding 1 to her cost will not impact her playability too much, and I expect to still see a lot of her in ranked. Shen is gaining 1 power on each of his cards. Shen has been among the least played champions for some time, especially as he tends to acquire Demacia barrier cards in his deck to really shine. Out of the most popular meta decks, a Fiora Shen hybrid is the only one that features him and has a win rate of 50.8% and a play rate of just 0.3. For now, Riot are boosting his power to make him more of a threat on his own and easier to plan profitable attacks around. I feel he will still need some further buffs to make him more competitive. Vi is having her health reduced by 1 on each of her cards. Whilst Vi doesn't offer a particularly game-warping effect like some champions, she's overperformed in a multiple of decks due to her raw strength on her baseline stats. In general, Riot don't want sticking random champions into decks that don't really suit the theme, as this takes away some of the fun of building decks around certain champions. They're just there to be less of a generalist, best-in-slot champion for Piltover and Zorn, whilst still retaining a power in the decks that synergize with her kit. Hecarim is getting 1 extra power on each of his cards. This one may surprise a few people, especially for those who are around in beta, but the simple fact is Hecarim wasn't seeing an awful lot of play anymore. Hecarim's stat line sometimes made it too difficult to find profitable attacks, so Riot are bumping up his power to help him attack into more board states and improve his gameplay satisfaction and overall effectiveness. I think it will slightly improve his playability, but Ephemeral will need further support for this to be an S tier deck again. Grizzled Ranger is having his power lowered from 4 to 3. This card is among the most value-heavy followers in the game. Not only is it resilient, but Scout allows the Ranger to push a ton of damage, force opponents to make suboptimal trades, and ultimately allow Demacia players that real mid-game advantage that makes it feeling like they're a bit too overpowered at the moment. Riot are reducing Ranger's power and Lore Badgerbears to allow players more flexibility and counterplay in deciding when and how they should block him. To put it simply, Misfortune Quinn Scout deck had a crazy high win rate of 56.1% and the 6th highest play rate of 3.1%, so it needs addressing, and Grizzled Ranger was seen as the main reason for this. The exact same can be said for Loyal Badgerbear. As you can see, its power has been changed from 4 to 3. I expect both of these cards to still be played, but the win rate to be much lower. Greathorn Companion's power has been increased from 4 to 5. Riot wanted to give some of Grizzled Ranger's former power up the curve, giving the dedicated scout decks more viable options. I think this is a buff that will go very much under the radar, but wrongly so, as a 5 power on a scout unit will hit very hard. In my opinion, this is a big call from Riot. This will also buff Remembrance, which summons a random 5 cost follower from Demacia. You could potentially summon a Greathorn on turn 3. Laurent Chevalier is having his health doubled to 2. The concept of this card was so cool, but it was just too hard to pull off effectively and caused multiple challenger units to be generated as a effect. Simply, it was a bit too fragile for its cost. It deserves a bit of a boost, and now is a good time seeing that a lot of other Demacia cards are seeing a nerf this patch. This is a buff I'm happy with, but I don't think it will dramatically increase his play rate, especially as he's competing with Lord Badgerbear for that Demacia 4-drop space. Standalone is having its costs increase from 3 to 4. This spell can lead to very undesirable gameplay patterns, particularly when one player goes all in on one unit as early as round 3. This leads to some very one-dimensional games that undermine decision making and turn too sharply on whether the opponent actually has the answer or even the region with the answer. Riot are pushing Standalone's early game potential back with a cost increase that kind of cuts off the ability to attack on round 3 with a 3-cost unit and the Standalone combo. I do think this will impact its playability a little bit, but it will still see a good amount of usage. Legion Rearguard is having its health halved to 1. When looking at the data for burn aggro decks utilising Legion Rearguard, Riot saw that around 1 Rearguard often gave a significant boost in win rate compared to the other cards when played in this part of the curve. In the right decks, Rearguard provides too much potential for a simple 1-drop, and Riot don't want players feeling consistently and immediately behind as soon as he's been played. This nerf will help reduce the power of burn aggro decks, but not as much as other nerfs that I will discuss in the impacts of this video later on. Kindly TavernKeeper is having its power increased from 2 to 3. Healing is a part of Freljord's identity, but hasn't actually been a part of non-ramp decks as we'd like. This is a general usability boost for TavernKeeper and should keep it more appealing as a flexible shot in those kind of wider Freljord decks that are looking for an extra card here and there. So this will not dramatically change the playability on win rates of Freljord decks, and I feel this is almost more of an experimental buff. Deep Meditation is having its cost increase from 4 to 5. The spell provides too much overall value at its old cost, offering high redundancy, card advantage, and consistent spellcasting. While this card should be a high performer in dedicated spell decks, it was doing just a bit too much. Given that Iona has a large variety of efficient and powerful tools, Riot wanted the high access of them to be offered by Deep Meditation to be more difficult for general Iona decks to tap into. I'm a big fan of this nerf, and it will help reduce some of the power of Iona control decks. Boomcrew Rookie is having his health decrease from 4 to 3. This is a card no one was surprised to see nerf, and was a staple in the burn aggro decks. With its high health and attack trigger allowing for consistent Nexus damage over time, decreasing its health will make Rookie more answerable through removal and combat, giving opponents a better shot at preventing multiple triggers from hitting their Nexus. This should hit the win rate of burn aggro quite hard. Brood Awakening is having its buff reversed and reverting back to its original mana cost of 6. It was originally decreased to 5 to buff spider decks in the wake of nerfs to Mark of the Isles, Crowd Favourite and Frenzied Skitterer. In the end, this change overly pushed the raw efficiency of Brood Awakening to the extent that it's become an overly potent defensive tool in control decks or kill your own unit combo decks. This is a medium nerf, and the card will still see usage, so it's aggressively and defensively good still. Longtooth is having its health doubled to 2. This card has been adjusted to allow Chum the Waters just a little bit less punishable and more reliable, especially in expeditions where associated decks have been struggling. Chum the Water can now be played without the enemy unit in play, so whilst this is actually technically a bug fix, it should also allow more versatility. Fizz had a play rate on the lower end, and I don't see this having too much of an impact in general. Monkey Idol is having its health increase from 4 to 5. Giving this card the potential to create a third powder monkey should make the effect a lot more meaningful and create more interesting and satisfying decisions about when to play it. I haven't seen this card played too much to be honest, but who knows, this could be the change that the card needs to be more viable. Slotbot is having its power increased to 1 and health increased to 4. Once this card gets up and running, it's quite the force to be reckoned with, but this rarely happens. Riot giving Slotbot a simple stat boost to help it getting moving quicker, or generally help it be more viable, and I think this could be the change the card needs to see some more usage. Additionally, the new Rainbow Poro Guardian and accompanying emote are also available for free until July the 7th, when they'll disappear from the store. To permanently unlock your Guardian emote, just head to the store and purchase the bundle for 0 coins. An arcade board has been added too with pixel power up and chiptune chimes. 4 new emotes are also available to purchase: Draven, Ezreal, Elise, and Teemo. An arcade card back has also been added. Thanks for listening everyone, and please like and subscribe for more content like this. I would love to find out what nerf or buff you think will have the biggest impact on the meta. See you next time.